We're back for another edition of Grizzly Connect. Bryant Johnson and ASC wide receiver Scott Kellogg speaking us. We do have football this evening on KSPK. It's Colorado Mesa and Adams State. Actually, it's a noon game now. Sorry for making sure that it's not an accurate time. I'd just like to keep you on your toes, especially considering what the weather is going to consist of this afternoon. When you think about ideal game conditions, 35 and snow showers, isn't it? As a wide receiver, what's the biggest challenge for game conditions like this?
I'll say the biggest challenge for wide receiver in cold weather games is keeping the hands warm and keeping a dry ball. I mean, when that ball gets wet and your hands are cold, it's tough to catch, tough to handle. So I like it nice and sunny out, keep it warm.
Some would think it's a unfair advantage, and it would just become a run-oriented game. But how can the conditions, especially how slippery the field is going to be, how can that really assist a pass-oriented offense?
I don't know if assist, but it's going to definitely make the run game easier. You definitely got to rely on the O-line a lot more in games like that. And as a receiver, you got to be willing to do the little things during cold weather games, do the blocking, all the little things. And then when the ball comes to you, you got to make the most of it. And for a receiver, it's easier because you know where you're going compared to a defensive back where they're going to be slipping when they're trying to come out of their breaks and stuff.
You mentioned the offensive line, and this has been a position of great need all season, but considering the injuries that were suffered 3 weeks ago and how players have bounced back, like Jason Nottingham and Kevin Ashak, when you're looking at the front five and how important they are to assisting the passing game, how impressive has it been to watch Ashak come back with a torn ACL, to watch Nottingham come back in the second half of a game against Western New Mexico when he wasn't supposed to play?
It's nice when you can rely on tough guys like that. And, Kevin, I think, is remarkably tough for coming back and playing through that. And he'll have another week under his belt with playing with that brace and understanding what it's going to be like. Nottingham coming back and playing when he knew he had to step up and fight it out, and it feels good to have those guys in front of you knowing how tough they're going to be and play hard for you.
Scott Kellogg, junior wide receiver with the ASC Grizzlies. Ashak, big personality though. How dangerous is it to acknowledge his success and especially his heart? I would imagine he enjoys hearing that.
Yeah, he does, but he still is a humble kid, and he's one of my good friends, and we have a lot of fun with him. So it's good when he gets that credit because credit's due.
How do you feel about his DJ skills and his pregame CD mixes?
He could work on that a little bit. Change it up a little bit sometimes. Get a lot of the same stuff. So
You're coming off of a record-setting performance in Saturday's loss to Colorado School of Mines, 286 all-purpose yards, a record from a D2 era standpoint at ASC. Some people would say, well, if you're punt returning, if you're involved in kick returning, and you're a receiver, you should put up numbers that are huge. But what is the biggest challenge of having consistent performances when you've got a head-hunting unit that recognizes you're an all-conference preseason selection as a special teams player? They know what your skill set is, and just getting those type of performances and punt returns and kick returns, not that easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to, touching the ball more, you should get more yards. But I think one of the things that help you be consistent is the other special team players. The kick return team as a whole unit, I would give a lot of credit to, for their blocking. There's not a whole lot you got to do besides run behind them. And punt return is all based on the defense. I'm the only one that goes out there besides them. So a lot of credit to those guys for all the hard work they've put in to help me stay consistent on that and get the good blocks that I need.
You have James Ackle back there, kick return and punt return, something you didn't have consistently play in and play out last year. We've seen what he can do on two-point conversions and what he's capable of doing with the ball in his hands. When he's back there with you, how does that allow you to be more comfortable with your returns?
Yeah, I do feel a lot more comfortable, and I know he's always going to block hard, and we have each other's backs. Like, we're not going to let each other get killed on a punt return or anything. So we do have that trust together now, and it is nice to have him back there as another threat so they can't just focus on one of us.
Scott Kellogg with the ASC Grizzlies. They have Colorado Mesa this afternoon at 12 o'clock on KSPK. When we chatted before the Highlands game, you really had yet to have a breakout game as a receiver, and it was tough considering you had 48 catches last year as a sophomore, and you said, if I can just get those bubble screens, that's going to change everything. Well, you've had an 11-catch performance since then, went over 100 yards on Saturday against Mines, and a lot of it has come with the trust out of the slot in getting those bubble screens. Why did everything suddenly change and really those screens become a focal point of the offense?
At the beginning of the season, we were big on hitting Bolt and Prescott deep and on the outsides, and I knew that my time would come on the inside where I had to step up when they started keying on them. And in that Highlands game, they left the bubble wide open. So we started using that a lot, and it can be a very effective thing if you get the outside blocks, and it helps take a lot of pressure off the run game and off the 2 outside receivers.
You know, everyone's been saying the right things about Dustin Bolt. You mentioned how he and Delton have been so complimentary as those stretch receivers. He's missed a week of practice with the viral strain of meningitis, missed the game on Saturday. Truth be told, it's a huge loss. What's been the biggest detriment in missing Dustin Bolt? And obviously on the field is one thing, but what else do you really miss when Dustin's not with your team?
Something people don't know about Bolt is what a personality the kid has, and he's such a fun guy to have around the locker room and out on the field. And this season we've all become really good friends as a receiving core. So I think just missing him out there as a friend, you know, having him sick in the hospital, you're always worried about him, always wondering how he's doing. So, I mean, off the field, you miss that personality.
You know him better than most. What do you think his level of interest would be in pursuing another sport in winter or spring? He has eligibility, and it's tough to go out like this. What do you think his level of interest would be?
He's a very competitive kid, and I mean everyone knows that. And I mean it might be high. I know he's a very good basketball player, and that takes a lot of time though. But I mean we'll see. I mean it would be a tragedy if he didn't get to finish out these last couple games as a senior and the career he's had. So I just hope the best for him and hope he gets back this week.
You had a chance to watch him fire off the musket in Durango. It's a privilege left just to coaches and seniors. And, of course, you were watching your freshman year as ASC won. And then, of course, last year didn't work out so well at home. Next year you'll have a chance at home, finally get a chance to fire off the musket in Alamosa. How big of a deal would that be to you?
It'd be a big deal. I never really understood it like my freshman year. And then last year when we lost it, I had a lot of senior friends, and to see how crushed they were, it hurt. And I knew this year we couldn't let it happen. And to see how happy everyone was to get it back, it's going to be a big deal, and I'm excited.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Scott Kellogg with the ASC football program. We'll have kickoff between ASC and Colorado Mesa at 12 o'clock. More to come on Grizzly.